This is part 1, Big Bear Bald Eagle Nest, March to April. The snow is finally starting to melt. Jackie arrives at the nest to inspect. Everything seems okay, and she starts fluffing up the nest. This is sort of just an instinctive behavior because her hormones have changed and she's no longer in the ovulating phase. But she pecks away a little bit at the nest and inspects. And then a little later, Shadow arrives to help her. Jackie sits down, pretending to sit on the nest. It's now 7 o'clock in the evening on the same day. Both of them are at the nest, and they're continue to fluff up the nest. And you can see how friendly they are and how bonded they are to each other. Normally, two bald eagles wouldn't get this close together without pecking and getting hostile to each other. So they take turns one at a time. They're crowding on each other, trying to fluff up the nest. Picking away little bits of leftover fish meals, cleaning up the nest, listening for ravens. They can't get close enough to each other, can they? They're really bonded to each other. What a wonderful mating pair. Shadow's practically climbing on top of Jackie. They are continuing to mate, but they're not producing anything. And they do that on a separate mating tree where they spend the nights. March 26th. Snow on the mountains in the background, and that's the nesting tree. A panorama early in the morning, and very early in the morning, right at sunrise, both of them return. Shadow rearranging branches on the periphery of the nest, moves it to one side, doesn't like it, takes it up and moves it somewhere else. Meanwhile, Jackie's in the background, continuing to fluff up the nest. They'll leave the nest shortly, but this is all nest reconstruction. This is the nest from a distance with camera 2, looking at them doing maintenance on the nest. And this is the alternate tree that they spend the nights on, right after a snowstorm. You can see they're huddled together. They spend the night like this in the alternate perching tree. One of them is getting ready to fly off. Little poop. And here is during the daytime after the snow of the tree that they spend the nights on, perching together. And back to the nest. The snow is gone from the nest, but in the background you can see there's still heavy snow around the lake. Shadow is busy rearranging sticks and fluffing up the nest. This is all instinctive behavior. Found another stick. He's still at it. March 29th, it's snowing heavy again. Here's looking back behind the lake at the snow accumulating on the trees. Shadow arrives with fresh snow on the nest. A stack of pine needles on the side, and he's brought back a fish for lunch. Still snow on the lake, as you can see. He's got a huge stick. He doesn't know quite where to put it. Those sticks are used to line the edge of the nest, kind of like a fence on the nest, to keep the babies from falling out. He didn't like it there, so now he puts it somewhere else. He's not quite sure if he likes it there, so he puts it back over on the other side. Shadow is a great person for maintaining the nest. A great person, huh? He's a bird. But as you can see, he's constantly thinking about the best place to put it. And now it's time for fish for lunch for both of them in the snow. There's snow back on the nest, as you can see. So Jackie has decided to share the fish with Shadow, and they both got their fill of lunch. Here's both of them on the nest. You can see how compatible they are with each other. On March 31st, you can see mating activity on a nearby perching tree where they spend a lot of time overnight away from the nest. Jackie was sitting alone, and now Shadow flies up and joins her. And here's what happens next. Actually, that was Shadow on the left, I guess. And that was Jackie flying up to have another mating. So they're mating right now, and Shadow jumps off, and Jackie's happy. She lets out a cry of joy. Even though she doesn't ovulate, she still enjoys mating, wagging her tail. This is April 1st at 7 o'clock at night, and Shadow's back on the nest, continuing to fluff it up, even though there's no chance of laying eggs or creating new babies. This is the end of part 1 video. Part 2 will start on a separate video that you can look at on a separate download.